Hey, hello, welcome to the show. It's me, John Park. The buttons don't want to be pressed, so the song was just gonna play and play and play. Hello, welcome to the workshop. Get out of here, mosquito. Can you believe there's still mosquitoes here? Do you have mosquitoes where you're at? Southern California, these mosquitoes just seem to never go away. We have the year-round skeeters. What the heck? Howdy. What's going on in your world? We've got a fun show, I think, here today, prepped for you. Some neat stuff. I'm excited to get started. So let me tell you what's going to happen. First of all, thanks for stopping by. If you're over in our chats, we've got the YouTube chat, and hello to Robert Cochran, Beata Graf Avdelhagen, Dave Odessa, Gary T, Leon VR, and Tyeth Gundry. Hello, hello. And then if you're wondering where to find the rest of the chat, why is no one over here in the Facebook chat, for example, if that's where you're watching? I just can't watch that many chats at one time, so people tend to head on over to our Discord, which is that right there. That is at adafruit.it/Discord. And look for this live broadcast chat channel right here, like Blitz City DIY has. Hey Liz, we are frozen and dark in Massachusetts. So that means you have no mosquitoes, hopefully. Hello to Some Nice. How are you? What's going on there? Is that a roaring crowd? Hey, John Nodge and C. Grover. Abadoos. Hello. Jim Hendrickson. Hello, hello, hello. Thin Man. Howdy. Paul Cutler, hello. Andy Calloway, George Graves. Oh, that was from last night. Yep, hello. So let's get going. What's happening here? I've got a coupon code for you so you can save some money at the Adafruit shop. I have a recap of my Tuesday show, the product pick of the week. A little bit of a CircuitPython Parsec, not so little. I have a little bit of a recap or a progress report, I suppose, on the Slow Movie Player, e-ink Slow Movie Player. I'm working on that Learn Guide. Should be out next week, hopefully. What else? I will dive into some tool talk. I've got screwdrivers on my mind, so I wanted to talk about some precision drivers and storage and making these things work better for me, the way I use them. I'm on a whole tear about my small screwdrivers mostly, so we'll talk about that. And I'm also designing a little holder. We'll take a look at some CAD, some Grasshopper, Rhino CAD design stuff for 3D printing a holder for what I'm thinking of doing. And a little improvised Lego Technics version of a bit holder for some precision driver Is that it? I think that's what I've got going on. I think, oh yeah, also, don't let me forget, I have a neat update, I think, on the PlayStation 1 situation, the classic PSX, PS1, PlayStation. So stay tuned to hear about that. Okay, let's give you a discount. So if you head over to the Adafruit shop, let's just go right on over to adafruit.com. That's the store right there. You might see some cool things you want to buy. You might want to pay less. So why not use today's coupon code? It's not November, it's Yesvember. I feel like I've used this joke before. I think this was probably the first coupon code of November of 2024. But hey, I think it works. So Yesvember will get you 10% off in the shop. Head on over to Adafruit. It looks a lot like that right there, and you can take a look at new products if you just click on the products drop down at the top, or this big banner here. Click on View All New Products. You'll see what we've got new in the shop. Looks like we have a few of these MagTag enclosures still. The MagTag revision itself, I think, is out of stock, but any of these things, maybe you want to check out a bunch of NeoPixels, Nano 2020s. You want to do some tiny soldering. Get 10% off. Yesvember, that's how that's going to work. So also, I will say, if you want to get a bonus on the way out, not only can you use Yesvember to get 10% off, but if you go to adafruit.com/free, you'll see we have some purchasing enticements at different levels. So if you spend $99 or more, you'll get this free Adafruit coaster, PCB coaster. If you spend $149 or more, you'll get the coaster as well as a KB2040 for free. And then if you spend $199 or more and you're in the continental United States, you'll get free ground shipping with UPS, as well as the KB2040 and a PCB coaster. So those will all stack up, and you get the 10% off using the coupon code, unless someone tells me otherwise. I've never tested the theory, but why not? Probably works, right? So what else? What else is going on here? Let's talk about the Tuesday show. So Tuesdays is the product pick of the week show. This was the product pick this week. This very cool non-contact infrared temperature sensor. Here's a little recap from that show. It is the MLX 9632 FIR Remote Thermal Temperature Sensor, an I2C controllable breakout board, non-contact temperature sensing, tuned to medical use, so think forehead temperature scanning. Got it plugged in over Stemma QT to a QT Py. You can see the REPL down at the bottom, so the ambient temperature in here is 78.8 degrees. Object temperature, so me right now, from this distance, my torso, 81 degrees. So if I step off to the side here, pretty much in agreement with the ambient temperature. And I can put this right in front of my forehead to check for a fever. Hey, I'm good, 93 degrees Fahrenheit. This week it is the MLX 9632 Far Infrared Temperature Probe. Is it a probe? I don't know. I suddenly just made up that word at the end of the show, and there we are. More of a sensor than a probe, I think. Yeah, John Nodge, that product pick is just in time for flu season. Good point. I actually don't know what... I've never paid attention to what temperature is the exterior of your forehead supposed to be. I don't think that's the same as the thermometer under the tongue, mercury thermometer under the tongue that I grew up with, so I never know these things, but it's probably not 98, is it? I should probably know this. Let me know. Any doctors in the audience? Wait, there's a song? There's a Yesvember song? What is this? C. Grover posted... On Nickelodeon, there was a Yesvember sing. Okay, I'll check that out later. I like the sound of it. All right, next up, let's do a CircuitPython Parsec. CircuitPython Parsec. All right, give me a moment, get set up. Here we are. Okay, on the CircuitPython Parsec today, it's the continuing Spice Invaders saga. And what I wanted to show today is using the select and start buttons on the controller as a combo to essentially do a soft reset on the microcontroller. As a bonus, I also have a game reset just with the start button. So this is primarily during coding, during debugging. Sometimes you just want to restart the whole thing. And in this setup where I have a feather board underneath this memory display, this sharp memory display, it's a little bit of a pain in the neck to reach around back there and press that hard reset button when I want to reset the board. Sometimes you can do this from the REPL with Control-C, Control-D to restart. But I just wanted to be able to do that from the controller since that's what I'm testing with a lot of the time. So let me demonstrate this first right now. I'm going to see if I can zoom out just a little here. And that's pretty good. Let me refocus that. There we go. Okay, so right now the game has been running for a long time. I haven't shot any of the aliens. You can see my score is 0. They've all moved down the screen because I don't have any collision going on yet. I just want to reset the entire thing. So I'm going to press select and start. And now what you're going to see is the board has reset, started the program. Now it's running. Here we are back at the top as if the board just got turned back on or hard reset from the button on the board. So now we can go and play. I can shoot these aliens. You'll also notice a couple other enhancements. I've inverted the colors now, which is a little more accurate, and I've added some BMP sprites for the aliens. Now, if I just want to reset the game, again, I don't have much of a menu system going yet, but I can just press start, and you'll see it jumps back to score of 0, and it puts the aliens back in their starting position there. Again, if I want to restart the whole thing, select and start at the same time on the controller, and now it's actually rebooted, essentially, the entire program. The way this works, the main addition is that I'm now importing microcontroller from the CircuitPython main libraries, included library. And with microcontroller, we can use microcontroller.reset, which will reset the board. If we take a look at the functions that I have running, I've also added the one that just resets the game. So let me scroll down to the reset game function here. And in this, I've got some variables for things like the score, what direction the aliens were moving, how many aliens we have, the state of the projectile, and the state of explosive lines. So we can just reset all of that stuff when we press it. So the other key thing is that we've added detection of a couple more buttons in here. So if you take a look, we had been using control pad, D-pad up, down, left, and right. So we were testing for those. And we're testing for A, which is when I've fired a projectile. Now I've added in here current start pressed value is control pad.buttons start. It's just part of the Wii controller library that we have. And the current selected pressed control pad buttons select. So then I can check those and see if those are both true, both of those are being pressed at the same time, then I'm gonna just pause for a moment and run microcontroller.reset. That right there is the only bit of code you need to reset the program. And then if I have the start button pressed but don't have select button, then we'll just run that reset game loop. If you take a look in the REPL here, there's the game running. It'll give me some feedback as I'm playing. Watch what happens when I press select and start at the same time. It actually disconnects from the REPL because it has reset the board. Then it's going to reconnect and then start playing again. Finds the controller, resets all of those. If I shoot up a bunch of aliens here and then press just the start button, you'll see we do a game reset, recreate the game grid, move the aliens up to start position, reset the score. And so that is how we can reset the game and reset the board using the select and start buttons on the controller inside of our Spice Invaders game. And that is your CircuitPython Parsec.
CircuitPython Parsec.
All right, let's see. Next up, I just want to take a look at the chats here. Beata Grafapelhagen said it's cool and rainy in Western Oregon. Oh, that's nice. Dave Odessa says, Rhino is difficult to learn. You know, I am not really too familiar with the current learning materials, tutorials. I know there are a lot of little tips and trick types of tutorials out there on YouTube. I still go to those when there's a new feature or something I don't know how to do to check out. But I'd be curious what the state of learning Rhino is like right now. I started it with the initial beta of it back in like 1998 or something like that. So I've used it in its sort of evolution for many, many years. So I'm not sure what it's like to step into it fresh today. But I will show a little bit of some Rhino basics and Grasshopper, fairly not too advanced stuff today, just to show you how I'm designing this tool holder. But before we get to that, a couple other things. Let's take a look at a Learn Guide recap. I forgot to mention we'd be doing that. So let's go here over to Chrome. And if we head to learn.adafruit.com, one of the new guides down at the bottom in the new section, you'll see it right here. If you just go to Learn, you'll see thumbnails of the latest few guides, is the wireless LED juggling balls with ESP Now. So you may remember I worked on this a few weeks back, finished it up. The Learn Guide just got published and blogged, and it's ready to go. I have a little highly intense and dramatic photo there with the balls up in the air, a little video demo that you can check out. We've got all of the parts that you need to build it listed here. And then if you go through the guide, we've got the printed juggling balls. So, oh, that's nice. Blitzity DIY said that the juggling balls made this week's Maker update. I'll have to check that out. Thanks for the tip. So this is the parametric juggling ball, tennis ball, saddle style, 2-panel ball designer that I built inside a Grasshopper and Rhino, and those snap together and they fit the guts of the juggling parts inside there. I've got some STL files if you just want those, a 3MF file if you want to open it up inside of your slicer, and some step files, which are the NURBS curves and surfaces if you want a lightweight representation, which you might then edit with other CAD software. I usually don't publish the Rhino and Grasshopper files for these. In this case, I did publish the file on the Rhino forums, the McNeil forums, for anyone looking to make procedural tennis ball style stuff. It's kind of a parametric formula for that you can slide sliders and build these balls. If anyone's ever interested in that, just let me know and I'll publish it into the guide and you can grab it from there. I did, for the maybe first time ever, print with this fuzzy skin method. So you don't model it this way, but in your slicer, in my case, in Bamboo Studio, I'm able to pick a lot of the exterior panels, but I didn't want a fuzzy interior because things needed to fit nicely. So I was able to essentially pick panels and paint, flood fill. Hey, this panel, this panel, this panel, this panel. It does a little extra wiggle of the nozzle in the G-code for you, so that makes them just a little grippier. I found these translucent materials looked really good with the LEDs glowing inside. Got the CircuitPython set up for this on the QT Py ESP32 S2 or S3, as well as how to code the juggling balls. There's the code that you'll need. And then we also have the, excuse me, I'm going to jump around here a second, the bridge. So juggling ball bridge is a featherboard that plugs into your synthesizer or your computer and receives the ESP Now messages from the balls and can also send messages to tell the ball what color to be. So you'll set up a feather, plug that into something, and then the balls, right in this code, I don't have the balls talking to each other, just all talking back to that base station. The assembly, so sorry, I'm going to mute here and cough for a second. That's a little better. There is the assembly of the balls. Someone asked in the chat, Robert Cochran asked, did I include the instructions to the PCB version of the juggling balls? I've started that page. I'm going to just do it as an add-on page to the guide. I just have to finish writing that up and share the files. In fact, if you look on the left here, if you're an editor in the Learn Guide system, you'll see red pages there. It says PCB version. So I've started that page, but have not finished it or published it yet. So yeah, this whole setup is to build this sort of little bolus of parts, little stacked BFFs style, and wrap that up in a little piece of NeoPixel strip. Put that in the ball, put a little bit of foam around it to keep things from banging around too much, and you get this little ring of lights, which looks nice. So there's the ball assembly, and then in that juggling bridge, we've got setup of the feather coating it, a little printed file that the Ruse brothers did for another guide. I'm just using that as the bridge part. And then under usage, shows you how to get this set up, turn them on. So these all are using the Power BFF, which has an on-off switch, so you can just unsnap the ball halves from each other. You sometimes have to put a fingernail or a guitar pick or something in there to pry it open a little bit, pull it open, turn them on or off. They do have a sleep that they go into after, I think, 30 seconds, but the most effective thing is to turn it off and then turn it on when you need it, and same with charging. Open it up, plug it into USB, and charge it. And that's it. And then the little demo video there. So go check that out if you're interested, and I will hopefully get the PCB version out sometime in the next few weeks. I just have other stuff that I'm focused on working on, so that'll come in a little bit. Okay, so that's the juggling balls. Let me know if anyone has any other questions about them. Cool. All right, next up. PlayStation update that I mentioned. So let me grab this one from up here. So you may recall last week I was showing you this wild and wacky PlayStation that I got in a contest from Imagine Publishing Next Gen magazine. So this is a PlayStation 1 that top shell was taken off and painted by an artist. This is the one that I found the mod chip in from our friend Old Crow. And you can see I taped the mod chip there because I had pulled it off to see if that's why it wasn't working. I don't think it was the mod chip's fault. Something is dead on this board. I haven't located it. But in the interim, I had ordered a same model of PlayStation from eBay for less than $30 that was non-working. And that's this back here. Yeah, you can see that. That's this PlayStation back here, which is working. And the reason it's working is because I opened it up. It was non-working. I opened it up and found the power supply to be dead on it. So I yanked the power supply out of my old one that I had, put it in here, and it just works. So I lucked out. So now that one has a dead power supply that I swapped back into it and something dead on the board. But this one works, which is cool, because one of the reasons I wanted it is I don't have a CD player in here. And so I, besides wanting to play games, just wanted to be able to use it as a CD player on this TV, which has nice speakers on it. And so you'll be able to hear a little. I'm not going to play this for long, so I don't want to get copy strikes and such. But yeah, this is the PlayStation's CD player interface. Turn the volume up here. And you use the controller for it to pick songs. You can just hit the shoulder buttons to advance to the next song or go back a song. select button will stop it. So you kind of don't even need a TV on if you have it plugged into a stereo. But since I've got it set up this way, I've got that on. Plays games, plays CDs. Very excited about having that up and running. And it's a nice, even though I love my weird graffitied case, I just wanted a classic, beautiful PlayStation. And now I've got that there. So that is my little update on the PlayStation. I'll turn that off for now. You know, all these old consoles, and of course CRTs are ticking time bombs with the capacitors in them wanting to expire at any moment, because that one, when did that come out? 95 or so? It's old. Okay. PlayStation update out of the way. Hello, Janubi over in the chat. They said, can anyone see me? Yes, we can see you over in the YouTube chat. Hello. Good. Let's move on to tool talk. So let's jump over to the workbench over here. Let me do a main cam for me in the corner. And I'm just going to zoom that and crop it a bit. One moment. And yeah, I'll go in that back in that corner, just slightly reshaped. Okay, let me head over there. So since I was digging around inside of PlayStations and other tiny things that I'm always taking apart, for some reason I got annoyed with my some of my screwdriver bit driver situation. So just opening the chat here so I can see. So I've got a few different sort of security bit and weird bit driver systems that I use. One of them is one of these great iFixit. It's got like 40-something, 60, I don't know, a bazillion bits. And these are great because there's some stuff that I don't use a ton of, but when you suddenly need like a weird size security bit, and you got 3 of them in here, there's a good chance of it working. Or square drives, which I don't use that much. There's some little sockets in there. There's some security Torx. There's Phillips. There's slotted. There's hex. So these are cool, but they're also a little bit, they're good for kind of a one-off thing or something where all the screws are, you know, consistent, because you have to pick a bit, put it in the handle, use it, set it down. What happens sometimes is if I'm dealing with something that has like 3 sizes of screw, I'll have a couple bits here and I'm changing them out, dealing with different parts of the thing. And I don't love that. I'd rather use dedicated drivers for stuff that's common enough that it makes sense. So these are great and great in a bind. Excellent to have in a, you know, a travel kit if you're going somewhere to repair something or work on something. So those are nice, but they're not the full story. So another one that I have is this VHA. Is that how we pronounce it? It's German. I think that would be VHA. I've had this VHA set for many years. It's a similar thing to the iFixit. So it's a handle. There's also an extension to the handle. And originally it came in this. So this is a ESD safe 27-piece precision microbit tech set. And you can see it's got 4 so slotted, 4 Phillips, 8 or so Torx, 8 or so hex, the extension, and the ESD safe handle, which just means it's not as likely to zap your stuff with electrostatic discharge. Let's see, where's this focused? Lift this up. There we go. So these are really nice, and they the bits all came in this thing, which kind of broke over the years. You can set it at an angle, which is nice to have the bits right in front of you. But when I was cleaning these bits up, because they had gotten water dripped on them, I'm sad to say, were a bit rusty, so I soaked them in Coca-Cola and cleaned them up and steel wooled them and oiled them. And I decided to put together this little Lego block because I realized all of these fit into a Technics hole. So I've got some sort of a right angle hinge thing on some Lego, so I can do Technics blocks or Technics bricks with the little holes available. And there you can see I've got my 4 Phillips, the 4 slotted, the 7 or 8 hex, and then the Torx, 9 Torx or whatever it is here. So you can grab them, hopefully try to keep them in order, set them back. These have, they do have their very hard to read. So like this is a T3 Torx there, so they have it etched, machined nicely into the bit there. But keeping them in order is helpful for, oh, why is that blocking it? Is that one of these? Yes. Helpful for keeping these somewhat organized. There we go. These got sort of jammed into the Lego below. And I put a little bit of a slot underneath for the handle, so that'll store in there, and the little extension tip there. So, you know, I have no cover for it. These will all fall out if I try to travel with this or something, but it's, I think, decent enough and fun to look at, so that can sit on my workbench. But then we get into more dedicated drivers. So I've got, wow, that's a very saturated camera. I can't mess with that right now, but that is the reddest red. So I've got, from a camera maintenance job that I had a few years ago, I had gotten a very specific set of Torx and hex drivers. Again, VHA. There was a Torx T10, T6, this Pico Finish Super Micro, what is this one? 1.3 Torx. Are you a Torx or are you a hex? That's a hex. Tiny little hex. And then some bigger ball end hex here. So this is a 3 millimeter. This one I think is a 2.5, and a 1.5. So those I don't have a good home for. Sometimes I have them in some drawers, but when I get them out to use them, I just set them into whatever is convenient, like these little drawers that got pulled from a machinist's chest. These are 3 brand new ones that I got because I think I want to go with some Swiss tools, PB Swiss tools. And one of the reasons for this, I want to get some of these in the larger sizes because a few reasons. They have these really nicely designed tips that are ground parallel. It's too small on this one, but when I get some bigger ones, I'll show you. On the slotted, rather than having a kind of ground taper that goes from the shaft, which might be like 2-3 millimeters, down to that small tip, most screwdrivers are ground like this. If I grab a real big one, you'll be able to see that, right? So you just get angled from the largest to the smallest. You get these little 2 inclines. What the Swiss tools do is they grind a parallel slot so that they actually make way more contact with the screw, which is nice. And then the other thing I really like about them is the previous design. They've just changed their handles on these regular screwdrivers, but on the, and this is happening right now, so you can buy the sort of old one or the Evo one on this Swiss grip, which is this nice sort of fancy rubberized but non-tacky surface. So these on this old model have color coding, so slotted are all black, Phillips are all yellow, I think Torx are blue, hex is purple. So you can tell at a glance which type of driver it is. And then on the back there you can see an icon for the type of tip you've got, the size. So this is a, let me zoom out, or let me focus that up for you. So you can see the almost Okay, so you can see this is a Phillips 1, this is a slotted 0, 0, this is a slotted 1, and then also tells you pH 1 here, 2, 3.5, so that's the width in millimeter of the tip, diameter, and length. So this is a 80 millimeter long, this is 90 millimeter long, this is 70 millimeter long. So I love having all that info there. On the new design, they've gotten rid of most of that text and just says 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So they made it easy to read from a bunch of directions if it's lying somewhere on your bench, but I don't mind this. I actually kind of prefer this. So I don't have their precision drivers, which are a lot more like these VHA ones. They have the rotating tip, so you can press a finger against to hold it in place and spin it. So that, but it is still this same Swiss grip surface. Okay, so that's a bit about some of these drivers. Now, organizationally, what I was thinking of doing, let me head back over to the workstation here. What I want to do is make, hold on, my window just got huge. I want to make a parametric design, put me in front there, that'll allow me to do some different groupings of these. I don't think I want all of them all in one spot, but a somewhat consistent design with a little bit of an angle. These were some models of some screwdrivers that I just grabbed from McMaster Carr, which amazingly has step files and SolidWorks files and some other 3D files of pretty much everything, nearly everything they sell. So I grabbed some drivers there, and this is the idea, something like this. This is my kind of first idea, is that a little bit of an angle, but mostly just drop the shaft in. I maybe just make this as long as the longest one. Right now, I think this is 130 millimeter or something like that, and be able to, with all of those Swiss tools ones, the info is still on the cap there on the end. So I'll just be able to see. I don't need to see the tips of them. It's actually a little easier at a glance, and it's color-coded. So the way I put this together, let me hide the drivers there. And go a little bit into the parametric design of this. So I'm gonna, let's show everything that goes on behind the scenes, and then I'm gonna hide anything I'm not currently selecting. So this all started with a circle. Go to a top view of this. So this is a direct modeling program. I can go in here and make curves and things and extrude them, model them, intersect them, whatever you want. Great for surfacing, great for solid models. Grasshopper is this thing over here on the right, which is this flow graph of little data nodes. It's a directed acyclic graph, so you can take data, send it to a node, something new happens to the data, send that data along, split that data, reuse it in different places just by connecting up things. So this is just a circle node. All it does is make circles. All it wants to know is the plane, and the default plane is this XY plane that I'm using, this top-down view, and the radius. So I have a radius of 3, which is what I wanted for my screwdriver shafts there. So I take that and run it into a rectangular array graph, or node. So my circle goes in as the geometry for a rectangular array, and then this wants to know, okay, how many cells and where are they? So I'm telling it, in this case, let's start with a reference rectangle, and then if I change the size of that thing in X and Y that can adjust this array. So that's just 1 over and 1 up cell. What does that look like? So as I increase that spacing there, you'll see we just get wider spacing. As I increase the number of them, we can go make a huge block there. Okay, so let me undo a couple things there, get back to where we were. And then the next thing I want to do is actually construct the outer perimeter of this. So what I did was I took whatever this array is. Let's make this a little, yeah, I'll leave that as it is. Whatever this array of circles is, find the boundaries of it. So you can do a lot of data analysis. This is a bounding rectangle. It's just going to say, I'm going to place a rectangle around whatever you've created. So you can see here, if I increase the width of this, we'll get a bigger rectangle around it. I then offset that a little bit so that, let me pick the circles in this. So I can have a border. That means the circles aren't right at the very edge. And then just to be a little more ergonomic, I fillet the corners of that. So that's going to be the outside of the thing. And then I extrude that. So if we look at a perspective view, that's an extrusion of that curve. And at the same time, I'm doing an extrusion of all of those circles so that I can cap them off, make little cylinders, and just drill them out. So I'm going to take essentially the difference of that block that I've made and cut out those tubes that are inside of it. And then pretty much at this point, I just wanted to do a little bit of angling of the thing. So for me, it was a little easier to just create an extrusion on one axis of the box and of the little cylinders, and then rotate and adjust the thing and chop its bottom off. So here, I'm just tipping it up on its end, and then I'm sinking it under the ground just because it's going to be straightforward for me to make a plane that I can chop it with on the ground. So this is a planar surface. Again, these all have little parametric values that I can drag around that I've added. I move that so that it just encompasses the block. And I could use boundary surface kinds of things. I could say, hey, I don't need to do this by eye. You know where the boundaries are, but I didn't. I just got lazy and didn't do it that way. But now I can take the block and create the difference based on where that plane is. So here we're seeing that plane. Let me make it a little bigger. Oop, there we go. That plane there, so long as it intersects all of the block, we'll just chop off the bottom of it. So then I can kind of flip that on its face to get a nice smooth surface and print that. It's at a pretty reasonable angle. I tipped it at like 12 degrees right here. If I want to adjust that, I can just adjust that, but it's going to keep processing that little chop there. And then export that or bake that geometry. So this is what it looks like baked and then turned into a mesh. So this is essentially the NURBS surfaces of this carved out solid, and then this is the triangulated meshes with enough resolution to make the 3D printer happy where it needs it and simplify it where it doesn't. So then that's what I sent over to the slicer, over Bamboo Lab slicer is what I use. And we get this over here. So I just printed a small section of it because I was running out of time, but let me head over to the bench there. And this is what I got here. So you can see I just sunk it into the bed of the 3D printer more just to chop it off. There's the nice smooth build plate surface there that I got. That's what the bottom will look like because it's at an angle. So we get pretty, I did a fairly low resolution draft print, but actually it seems like that'll just be fine. So these will be fairly quick to print. And now I'll be able to do stuff like that. Obviously we won't get all this wiggling around when this is the full size of it, but that should give me a nice, neat, easy to see, easy to use, grab and go. If I want to get fancy, maybe I can add a little labeling, a little 3D printed text, which looks nice on that first layer, kind of smushed into there. Or not be so fancy and don't worry about it at all, or just put a label on there or something like that. But could color code that too, but after a certain point, that's just for fanciness points. But that is where that's headed. So I'm excited about this. If anyone wants a file from this, I can publish that. I'm not doing a guide or anything like that. I'm not planning to. Just for my own use, and wanted to share with you the thought process and design process of making a little holder for those. I think the holders that Swiss Tools makes set things like this. So you can see the tips, which is kind of nice, but I think, and if I'm wrong, and yes, I think Swiss Tool also does this. If I can see that there, that's actually bigger and easier for me to see than, is that a hex or is that a Torx? I don't know, but if I look at that end, that's definitely a hex. Here's the Torx symbol there, so it's easier to distinguish, and they are color-coded. So, all right, that's what's going on with that. What are your tool sorting strategies? I'd love to know. Because I am sick of tiny little security bits in handles, honestly. I want more drivers. Some Nice says, I've got a nice set of Moody Tools brand dedicated to camera repair. Oh, wow, that's great. Very cool. Some Nice also said, you just installed the Sony BMG rootkit. I forgot about that. Yeah. In 2005, Sony sold 22 million music CDs containing malware that secretly it's installed itself on customer computers. That's right, they were putting rootkits on everything. Why they needed that level of control, no one knows. John Nodge says, let me open up the Discord, so if you're not there, you can see it. John Nodge says, Wesley Treat had a fun video on his effort to create screwdriver storage, if anyone's looking for inspiration. Thank you. Yeah, I should look at, I haven't looked on the internet for these kinds of, what are other people using? That's a good idea. I should probably do that before I commit to my first idea here. Thank you. Yeah, Andy Calloway, something like that, but it's a lump of wood with holes drilled into it. That will work for sure. I've definitely had drill bit indexes that were just that. Just bzz, 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 bzz. Use the drill and wiggle it a little bit for each bit, and you get the right size. Let's see. Andy Calloway, yeah. Oh, Dave, WA90NY is typing. Okay. Is that it? Did we do it all? I want to remind you again, if you want to save some money in the shop, that's the coupon code, YESVEMBER, YESVEMBER. That is good until midnight East Coast time, US East Coast time tonight. And that will give you 10% off. Put it in the coupon code slot. It works on anything that we can send to you. It will not work on gift certificates or subscriptions or software, but it is good for goods, things that we can physically send to you. I don't believe there are any restrictions on those. I know at some points we've had like certain brands like Raspberry Pi wouldn't take a discount on them, but I believe now everything does. Oh, Andy also says I have a few of those magnetic tool holders. That's cool. Yeah, I had a nice tool holder, walnut tool holder with magnets built in that I used to have some tools on. Now I have it's in my little bartending nook, so it's all peelers and squeezers and garnish peelers and the like, and one screwdriver. Not that kind of screwdriver. All right. I think that's going to do it. I believe we have Foamy Guy, Tim, doing a deep dive tomorrow. I think Scott will be back in a couple weeks, maybe it is. We will probably be a little touch and go on whether there are show and tell and ask an engineer for the next couple weeks as the Lady Ada and Mr. Lady Ada prepare to expand the family. So we'll keep you posted about that. But we do have the usual plans for 3D Hangouts, this show, Deep Dive Foamy Guy, wrap around to the beginning of the week, Tuesday, my product pick of the week. And then, like I said, maybe we'll be on the show and tell and ask an engineer, maybe not. So keep an eye out. Oh, that's a good idea. David W890NY says, for tools, I go to Goodwill and get forks, knives, etc., trays to store the tools. That's a nice idea. I still can't get over the saturation on this red. Those handles. Wait, can I fix that right here? I think I can. Color. Are you like... No. Yep. There we go. That's more like real life. My saturation was goosed up on that one shot. All right, I think that is going to do it. Thank you, everyone, so much for stopping by. For Adafruit Industries, I'm John Park. This has been John Park's Workshop. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.
You have